Well, howdy there, folks, and welcome into today's video. Hope you guys are doing great out there as always. Today, we got to talk about Robinhood. They are back in the news again, okay? I know it has been a rough past couple years for Robinhood. Something big is brewing underneath the surface when it comes to the Robinhood app and something they're planning on. This could be something that a lot of other brokerages try to do as well. So we're going to cover this, my opinion on this, things like this. It is a big subject, and I know a lot of folks out there use Robinhood, and like I said, this could even be something that maybe other brokerages try to do over time as well. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. All I ask in return is that you smash that thumbs up button. That helps us out huge in the YouTube algorithm. Thought we'd actually start here just talking about Robinhood's valuation because it's interesting, right? Even despite the tough patches, the rough spots for Robinhood over the past couple of years, which they've had several, right? We remember them. Like they've had several issues over the past few years, and yet look at this company. It has just continued to grow its valuation from 2017, $1.3 billion to today, $20 billion. And it almost makes you think for a moment, maybe all publicity is good publicity in the end, because over the past few years, they definitely got out there in the financial space for some bad things that folks really didn't like, whether it been situations where trades weren't going through, whether it been like hacking situations, whether it be that whole GameStop situation and some folks not being allowed to buy the stock or in limits. And there's so many various things that have happened over the past few years in relation to Robinhood, but yet look at the valuation. The numbers just speak for themselves. It's just continue to go up and up and up in regards to Robinhood, okay? So first off, we got to talk about, if you're going to understand why this is such big news here, okay, in relation to kind of what Robinhood's working on behind the scenes, you got to understand what an IPO is. That's an initial public offering. That's when a company goes public, okay? Meaning anybody can buy shares that have like a brokerage account with a Robinhood or whoever, right? Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, any of those guys, right? And so in an IPO situation, that's where obviously a company that's private, right? They issue shares out there, and then folks can buy into those shares, okay? And obviously there's many various reasons why you would want to do something like this if you are a private company trying to become a public company, okay? And a lot of times you'll hear things like, oh, that IPO just went up huge. That IPO's up 30% in its first day. It's up 50% in its first day. It's up 70% in its first day. Well, here's the thing you got to understand about that, okay? There's a catch, and this catch is a big catch, okay? Most of the time, the people that are the retail investors, you and me, us, okay, if we want to buy in that stock, a lot of times we go down in the shares, okay, because you just don't get the best pricing. Before, the average Joes can even get their hands on shares when it comes to an IPO, a lot of times that stock's already gone up 30, 40, 50, 60%. And by the time the retail investors start getting into it, the stock starts usually downtrending and downtrending, right? And it's such a false narrative that's put out there sometimes, because you hear about all these IPOs going crazy, and the first thing you start thinking as a retail investor is, oh my gosh, I got to start buying these IPOs because they just go up like crazy. When in reality, it is actually other folks that get in before that price spike that are making all the money, which aren't retail investors. And the retail investors get in, and a lot of times, let's say the stock was up 50%, the retail investor jumps in because now they can finally get their hands on some shares, right? And then all of a sudden that stock finishes up 30% for the day. Well, now the retail investor just lost a ton of money because they bought it when it was up 50%. Now it's only up 30%. But yet you see out there, XYZ company, they just went up 30% today. And it makes you think, oh my gosh, I need to start buying IPOs left and right, okay? It's a catch. So this is how a usual IPO goes, and needless to say, the retail investors usually don't get the best of it. Now, it seems like Robinhood wants to change the whole game when it comes to this, okay? Look at this. So Robinhood will give retail investors access to IPO shares. Now, the first thing I thought about when I saw this headline was, wait a minute, Robinhood, they're going to go public soon. So, they're going to try to give, let's say, Robinhood customers early access to the Robinhood IPO. That's what I was thinking at first. As soon as I read that headline, that's what I was thinking this was in regards to, because if you aren't in the loop, there's been so many rumors recently about Robinhood's going to go public. Robinhood's going to go public, okay? We don't know when that is, but there's so many rumors about that right now, okay? And so that's where my mind went initially. I'm like, oh, they're going to just try to get, it almost seemed like, maybe they won't have the demand for the IPO that they want to have, so why not just give a bunch of shares to Robinhood customers or something like that, or allow Robinhood customers to get in early. So that was kind of my initial thought there. But it looks like things might be going a little different route here, okay? Robinhood is giving amateur investors access to initial public offering shares in its latest move to democratize retail investing, okay? First off, amateur investors, CNBC, be careful with the word choice, okay? I don't like that amateur investing. Here, let's look at this. Average hedge fund versus S&P 500. Hedge fund performance here, S&P 500 performance here. Hedge fund performance here, S&P 500 performance here. Look at this, guys. Look at this, okay? Yeah, the professionals, they aren't so professional. They don't know what the heck they're doing out there, okay? So watch it when you call us the amateur investors, okay? Just because you might have a certain degree or a certain license or something like that doesn't mean you know anything. Clearly, when we look at these numbers here, okay, these guys are getting trounced. They're just absolutely obliterated by the S&P 500, okay? So back to this. This is actually pretty dang interesting, okay? IPO shares have historically been set aside for Wall Street's institutional investors or high net worth individuals. Retail traders typically don't have a vehicle to buy into newly listed companies until those shares begin trading on an exchange. Okay, remember we just talked about that whole scenario. The stock's already up huge. Then the retail investors finally get to start buying in, okay? They get to buy high and sell low, okay? Which is often after the share price has surged. Very, very important, okay? We're starting to roll out IPO Access, a new product that will give you the opportunity to buy shares of companies at their IPO price before trading on public exchanges. With IPO Access, you can now participate in upcoming IPOs with no account minimums, Robinhood said in a blog post on Thursday, okay? Essentially, Robinhood wants to make it. Their ideal goal, what it sounds like here, is so you and I, if some company goes public, we can essentially get our hands on shares before, the shares have actually gone out there to the public markets and on the exchanges, which definitely would be a very different thing than what has ever been on Wall Street. Because like I said, a lot of times IPOs are just, you can usually get them a lot cheaper down the road than what after they already started trading on the exchanges. This just happens time and time again, okay? Robinhood will not be an underwriter for companies hitting the public markets, but will get an allocation of shares by partnering with investment banks. That makes me think, partnering by investment banks. So Robinhood's going to have to give something to investment banks, right? It's not like investment banks are just going to be like, oh, here's a bunch of shares in the new IPO. Cool, guys. I don't think that's the way it's going to work. I'll be completely honest. There's got to be something the investment banks are going to want from Robinhood, right? That's usually just how business works, right? One side wants something and one side wants the other thing, right? So what that thing is, we'll still have to, get clear about that, okay? This move is Robinhood's latest to antagonize Wall Street. I don't know. Okay? If they're going to partner with investment banks, I'm not so sure about that, okay? IPO stocks pop on the first day averaged 36% in 2020, according to Deal Logic, demonstrating individual investor thirst for some of these popular names that is not priced into the IPO pricing. These are gains the little guy's missing out on, obviously, right? Because if you can't buy in until the stock's already popped, you're going to miss out on that huge first gain there, okay? The traditional IPO process has been criticized in recent years as being broken, with investment banks allocating the shares to big clients who reap the instant first day gains. Going public by way of direct listing has combated some of these criticisms, right? We've obviously seen direct listings boom recently, right? It's just been something that has taken off in a massive way, as well as SPACs, right? I've been in the stock market for, since 2008, 2009, and I don't ever remember really hearing about SPACs special purpose acquisition companies, I don't really ever remember hearing about them prior to pretty much last year, okay? And I've been doing this for a long dang time. It was always you did an IPO, right? Like the normal way. And if you didn't do that, maybe you did a direct listing. But over the past year, all of a sudden, everybody wants to do direct listings, SPACs, things like that, okay? Which, definitely puts into jeopardy kind of IPOs in general, in my personal opinion, if all these companies are going to start considering to do SPACs and, direct listings and things like that. And then all of a sudden investment banks don't make all that money, right? Which investment banks, I'm sure they love to make some money as well, because the checks on those deals, woo-wee, okay, they're big. FIG's IPO to be the first. Look at this, okay? Using IPO access, Robinhood clients will be able to request to buy shares at their initial listing price range. When the final price is set, clients will be able to go through with the purchase, change, or cancel. Medical scrubs company FIG's, which filed its paperwork to go public to the SEC on Thursday, will be the first company to offer its share on the Robinhood app, okay? Interesting. Okay, by the way, Medical Scrubs Company, I would bet they're coming off probably a record year last year, right? Interesting time to go public, right? Right when you're coming off a record year and things are looking really great for you right now, right? Interesting there, right? But anyways, this company is supposed to be the first to try this. Now, keep in mind, this is something really important you got to keep in mind. Whenever it's a new company going public, right? There's obviously a lot that the company, folks have to kind of understand about the company, right? We've seen with Coinbase. Coinbase is expanding their clients in a massive way, right? They're expanding their revenues, their profits, everything, assets under management. And, people are just having a hard time kind of understanding the business, and the stock has just been falling and falling and falling, right? And so you see that with a lot of companies that go public. Sometimes it's just like, even if the company's doing great numbers or, what people would perceive as great, doesn't mean the stock's going to do great, right? That's something to keep in mind. And also, when it comes to something like this, there could be glitches, there could be issues, there could be problems. That's just something to keep in mind. We know Robinhood has had their share of some issues in the past, right? And they've tried to work through those, but they've had some issues, needless to say. And so, when you're getting in on something that's like this, I don't know if there's going to be issues. We'll just have to see. But it is something to kind of be aware of. This is something new for a company to be trying. How does this work out? Time will tell as far as all that goes, okay? We currently anticipate that up to 1% of the shares of Class A common stock offered will be basically offered to retail investors through Robinhood Financial LLC as a selling group member via its online brokerage platform, FIG said in the S-1 filing document. This is a first initial public offering to be included on the Robinhood platform, and there may be risk associated. There we go. Risk associated with the use of the Robinhood platform we cannot foresee. There we go, okay? I'm glad they said it there. Including risk related to the technology or operation of the platform and the publicity and the use of social media by users of the platform that we cannot control the company at it. So the company is definitely, and this is not Robinhood saying this is that actual company, the FIGS one, right? They're saying they're trying to prep everybody, so in case there's any issues, like, hey, we prepped you guys, we told you there was all this potential stuff, okay? The IPO date isn't set, but companies typically go public 1 month after S1 prospectus is filed with the SEC. Very, very important here, okay? Now, we're going to get to this in just a moment. I just want to talk to you guys a moment here, okay? It's interesting timing that kind of Robinhood has around this, right? Because we know Robinhood is going to potentially go public at some point this year, right? There's so many rumors about it. It's like maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But it's interesting that they want to try to do this at that time, because there's definitely a possibility, right, that maybe Robinhood tries to with their whole IPO, right? I think Robinhood could potentially be scared that their IPO is going to flop, right? We saw Coinbase flop in a massive way. We've seen Robinhood have a lot of issues dramatic situations over the past year or two, right? And so it's turned off a lot of retail traders, retail investors from Robinhood. And so we don't know what type of demand will be there for a Robinhood IPO, right? With everything that's kind of gone on, and then you put up a valuation of 20 billion or 25 billion or 30 billion or whatever, right? And folks aren't willing to buy Coinbase at 60 billion. Why they want to, and Coinbase makes potentially, Coinbase, honestly, their latest net income number was more in a 3-month span than Robinhood made for revenue in all of last year. That's something to factor in there, right? And so some folks are going to look at it and they'll be like, why would I pay 20, 30, 40 billion or whatever for Robinhood when Coinbase, has more profitability than in 3 months than essentially Robinhood has revenue in a whole year. So that's something that folks are going to factor in. So maybe Robinhood is trying to, here's the other thing with Robinhood, right? This is a company that got famous because of basically making it free to trade, right? No commissions. Well, that was great until a few years ago when every single online brokerage switched to essentially allowing you to place trades for free, okay? And that was something that changed the game forever, right? And now Robinhood has no big advantage, right? If every other brokerage out there is going to say, we'll let you place your trades for free too, all of a sudden now you're like, okay, who's got the best customer service? Who's got the other things that I would enjoy in a brokerage, right? And so that's something to kind of factor in. Robinhood went from this huge advantage to now they have nothing. So maybe, at least in my opinion, they kind of have nothing over anybody else. If anything, I think a lot of other companies have things over them, right? We've talked about Robinhood's lack of customer service in the past, right? I don't know if Robinhood's finally got a phone number or not, but as long as I remember, Robinhood never even had a phone number you could call. I mean, these are people that are going to hold your money. How am I going to trust that let's say I put $1 million over there with Robinhood. If I can't call somebody if there's an issue, that's an issue. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have $1 million of my dollars and I just we just have to talk through email or text or whatever, right? That's just ridiculous, right? So we've thought about those sorts of things, right? And so Robinhood's trying to do something that's game-changing to the next level to make folks say, oh, let me have an account with Robinhood to at least do something, right? And this brings us to another issue around Robinhood, especially in relation to Robinhood's valuation here. So when it comes to the fintech space, right, it's not just important about how many users use your platform, your app, whatever it is, right? It's also account sizing, okay? And if we look at Robinhood, this is out of the business of apps, okay, that kind of track this data. Robinhood average account size versus competitors. Look at Robinhood, $3,500. E-Trade 100,000, TD Ameritrade 110,000, Charles Schwab 240,000. I wish I would have had Fidelity up there, but they don't, okay? When you see something like that, that is definitely worrisome. And that makes, Robinhood has to do something. Because here's the thing, Robinhood's getting attacked on the low end, right? Because you have services like Webull that have come out of nowhere over the past year or two, right? Offering people free stocks. You have other companies offering free stocks. So they're competing for the clients with, let's say less than $10,000, right? You have so much competition in that space, right? And then the bigger companies are going to continue to attract clients that have hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars in the market or plan to get to those type of levels, right? And so that puts Robinhood in a situation where they're like, okay, we're having trouble now starting to compete on the low end because we have so much competition that's coming out of nowhere the last couple of years. And then on the high end, what do you have? Why would I use Robinhood over using Fidelity Investments, right? Why would I use Robinhood over using TD Ameritrade? Why? Literally, why would I move my millions and millions and millions of dollars over to those platforms, or over to Robinhood rather than use those type of platforms, right? Like Fidelity and TD Ameritrade. It just doesn't make sense, right? That would be you can't even conceive that idea. That would just be ridiculous, right? And so Robinhood has to launch something that makes somebody like myself say, hey, that's interesting, Robinhood. That's a cool new thing you're doing over there. Let me start an account with you guys and funnel 10,000 in or 100,000 in or something like that, right? They had to do something because this number is unbelievably low. And Wall Street's not going to respect, all those user numbers if the user numbers don't add up to a lot of money in the end, right? Because what makes these companies valuable is, once again, not just the users, but the fact that they have people that use these that have a bunch of money, right? Because the way you kind of think about it is, well, if a person has a ton of money, then we could potentially make a ton of money off them, right? By offering them different products and services over time. If all your clients have $3,000, there's going to be a limited amount of money to make there over time, right? And so that's something to kind of factor in there. So I think it's Robinhood trying to pivot and change the game into something new, which I think is an interesting idea. Let me know what your guys' opinion is in that comment section. I want to hear from you guys. As always, if you're looking to join my private stock group, the private Discord chat, check out a brand new video I filmed for you. That'll be pinned comment down there. Much love as always, guys, and peace. Don't forget to smash!